folks. Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, folks. We're doing another discussion stream. No more Harry Potter. The wands have been put away. The spells have been all cast out and whatnot. Now, in the spirit of the Halloween season and many weeks to come, it's going to be Underworld. Vampires versus Lycans, hybrids up the wazoo, drinking blood, eating people, all that awesome shit. And with me tonight, we got GFan84, Matt's Mama Bear, 24/7 Fusion, and Bert's Trisket. Bert is on because one Fatal J unfortunately couldn't make it. He will be in the chat, I hear. That's going to be awesome. So, also, we might get Demonch and I tonight. We might not. If not, that's okay. Real life happens to be more important than YouTube. So, no hard feelings at anything, man. If people can't make it, I'm one of the most understanding people you'll ever know. So with that all out of the way, let's get into Underworld. Begins with a beautiful narration by one Kate Beckinsale. I mean, I gotta say, first and foremost, this movie, very good. Yes, it has its flaws. Yes, the theatrical is a bit more flawed than the unrated edition, which I've actually watched numerous times today. I've watched that movie 4 times today, just to make sure that I could keep it all up here, man. How you doing, Sam McCabe? Good to see you.
Hey, Sam.
And
hey, Sam.
I cannot wait until next week because my Chromebook unfortunately is out of commission until then. How you doing, Memes of Destruction? Good to see you.
There you go.
And so I sent in for a new charger for Soul Assassin. Thank God I have a moderator. Start plugging channels, buddy.
Hey, Soul Assassin.
I'll plug mine, please.
Yeah. So
I'm not doing anything serious with it right now. It's mostly just stupid short clips. I am doing an Amnesia playthrough. Like, I'm taking that one seriously, but I still can't edit for shit, so.
All right. Well, alrighty. So we get to we're in the narration where Kate Beckinsale is talking about the war between vampires and Lycans, about how 6 centuries ago, Lucian, the werewolf, or the most ruthless leader of the Lycan hordes, the werewolves, folks, has finally been killed, and now basically the death dealers, because they've hunted the werewolves to extinction, are basically becoming obsolete themselves. And while she's narrating, there's another death dealer that she's looking at. He's taking pictures, being like a rooftop voyeur, like a paparazzi, taking pictures of some Lycans and one person that they are kind of taking a strange liking to. But so it leads to the shootout in the subway shootout. And one of the things I absolutely love about this scene, one of the things that they actually drilled into Kevin Grievous and Kate Beckinsale, is how to shoot a gun without blinking your eyes, because there would be no sunglasses in this movie. I mean, this is a movie that you'd think would be perfect for sunglasses, shoot 'em ups and all that stuff. But you know what? They don't have that crap. They had him shooting without blinking. I'm like, okay, I buy that. That is believable. And to see Kate Beckinsale dual wielding the machine pistols, it's like, holy, and not blinking an eye as she's doing it. It's like, damn, man, this is just awesome. So what did you all think of that scene, the subway shootout? Just the short shootout part before we get into further down into the subway.
I thought it was a very fine opener. It's very reminiscent of The Matrix, toned down, obviously. Like, there's none of the bullet time kind of stuff, but it's very reminiscent of The Matrix, which was, so, following some trends there, really capitalizing on what theater audiences, or at least what Hollywood thought theater audiences wanted. But
yeah.
On top of that, maybe this is just me, and I haven't seen a lot of older movies, but it was really nice to see smoke come out of the guns, which that's not something that you see in a lot of newer movies. So that was nice, and it established the characters, even if the half of them are not really there in the rest of the movie. With especially Michael, his first instinct was to help someone who had been caught in the crossfire.
Yep. So, Mads, anybody else?
I'll admit, as someone who's generally not a gun nut or a gun fan, most of that stuff that you guys talked about, the smoke coming out of the guns, the not blinking, that went completely over my head. And I'll own that. Being a vampire fan, I've absolutely adored not only the whole look that they had of it, where it was, yes, a little Matrix, but still with that kind of a supernatural feel to it. And I mean, come on, Kevin Grievous.
Mm-hmm.
The one person that makes 24/7 look like he's got a high voice.
Yeah, Kevin Grievous's voice, man. When I first heard his voice, it's like that is one of the deepest voices I have ever heard. I mean, I don't even think I can imitate that voice. I really can't.
Kevin Grievous was the one of the Lycans, right?
Yeah, he was raised.
Yes.
He was the black bald one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy with the deepest voice that you could ever have.
Like, I can't imitate it. That's the best I can do with my shrill alien voice.
I honestly thought that was not his real voice when I first saw this movie. It's like three of them. Right. It's like he was kind of just then I go to the special features and I'm like, oh my god, that's his real voice. Holy shit.
Did you shoot some vampires?
No.
It's like holy shit. But yeah, man. It's holy shit. And I'm like, wow, okay, so that's his real voice. But I just love it when he says it. He's like, Hoods! And then he just pulls, man. It's like, fuck. He just pulls.
It doesn't matter how many times I watch that. If I don't have closed captioning on, I still cannot understand what he says when he's shouting there.
Yeah, he says bloods. Yells out.
Yeah,
blood.
no, I need closed captioning on to catch that.
Yeah.
Oh, to try and like cover up the whole vampire werewolf thing. I never noticed that.
They have well, I don't think anybody would understand what a lichen or what. I mean, unless you know, or unless you are very well learned in vocabulary, lycanthrope, lichen. So a lot of people would not understand what a person says if they were to say, "Oh, that's a lichen over there." That's a werewolf, dude. Yeah, lichen.
Yeah.
It's the same shit, different rules.
Yeah.
I know, wrong.
24/7. What did you think of the shootout?
Oh, I enjoyed it. You know, it's funny, like when you watch the theatrical version, and you know you're watching Celine. She's what's that, top of a bell tower kind of deal.
Yeah.
And you know, she, you know, after she says everything that she says, she jumps off and, you know, she lands the way she does and she starts walking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I always wondered, like, how is it that, you know, like, you know, well, you can see how she got from that point to the train station. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, her friends pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, how the fuck did they know that she was there to help her? And then when you end up watching the unrated version, then you get to see how they were there the whole time. You know, and like you said, one dude was taking pictures, and you know, everybody was on, you know, different little rooftops, and you know, you get to see like you know, the actual, you know, when they put in the deleted scenes, it gets to fill out the story a little bit more. It has a lot more understanding to it. And you know, I really do. I like it, man. It was very good, even to watch it compared to a lot of things that are coming out, you know, in the last year or two. Man, even with the graphics, I mean, it came out like what, almost 15 years ago. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly.
This movie is 17 years old, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. Yeah,
2003.
it's. I mean, just for it to be that old, the graphics are they're up to par to anything that comes out now. So it's just to see it, almost close to almost close to 20 years, and then you just look at it, you're like, wow, it still holds up, and it's amazing, man. I love it. Yeah,
In some of the digital effects, it still does hold up. When Nigel gets shot, he's the death dealer that gets shot with the UV bullets, and he starts burning from the inside. It's like, oh damn, what the hell did they shoot him with?
Right.
It's like in his veins too.
Yeah, it's an
gross.
irradiated fluid straight into the heart or straight into the bloodstream, as Khan, one of the death dealers, talks about later on, and we'll get into that. Just had to pull up something here. We got 4 people in the chat. Make sure to smash that like button, folks. It really helps more than you guys know. Now, so they're shooting out at each other, and then the guy who actually was already in the Nathaniel was the other one's name, the other vampire that was in there basically as backup just in case some shit went down. Well, some shit seriously did go down. One Lycan tries grabbing Michael, so it's like, okay, what's that about?
Right.
So then Kate just blasts him and then starts shooting after him. They then chase each other, but then Ray's and the other vampire Nathaniel go at it and end up in the dark in the dark alley subway part, and this is where you first see the transformation of human to light, or of Ray's into his Lycan form. And I love that this movie uses practical effects as well as CG. Yeah. The practical body in a suit kind of thing, person in a suit, that works because you act against something then. Also, it was clear horror movie homage because they kept the lighting down. They didn't want to show you too much at one time. And it's like, dude, why are you hissing at a freaking Lycan? I get the whole Lycan versus vampire thing, but it's like, dude, I would be shooting that motherfucker. I'm sorry. If I still had a gun, I would be unloading on his ass. I would not be freaking just standing there going, argh. It's like, no, I'd be like, my fucking gun.
His gun wasn't knocked away, was it? Did he run out of gun?
Probably did. And Ray's took him to task anyway. Ray's just went right at him, and that was all she wrote. He's like, ah! It's like, from vampire to bitch in like 3.2 seconds.
Well, to give a bit more context, because I actually read the novelization, which gives a bit more background to like the power. They're both vampires and both Lycans' powers. The reason why it says in the book why Nathaniel couldn't fight back very well was because Lycans actually can almost have like a better instinct of where a vampire will jump to. So no matter where, so in the book, no matter where he went, Lycan was like right there, like swat down, and finally he just ran out of strength, and Ray's just took him out. So it was a bit longer scene actually in the book.
Nice. So basically, they have a precognitive ability, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like a mix of like scent and being able to figure out where your prey is going to go. So they still have their cognitive ability, like they still are know what they're doing, but like the feral beast takes over as far as muscle memory and that type of thing.
Kind of wish that was in the movie though.
Yeah. Now, one thing I didn't cover was part of the narration that she gave of how I just love how you could tell this is a woman who has lived a very long time. For the moon no longer held her sway. The war she's talking about. It's like a person nowadays wouldn't speak like that. For the moon wouldn't, or doesn't control the war anymore. That's how we would say,
Right.
where the moon no longer held her sway. That's somebody who is old, like 600
Right.
years old, or yeah, I guess she'd actually be around. Yeah, she would actually be around
Yeah.
600. But
Yeah, that sounds more like how someone from the Enlightenment would talk. But yeah,
yeah, and older, more powerful Lycans can change at will. Reyes is one of those Lycans who can change at will. I mean, because he was one of the first Lycans to be turned. Well, not one of the first to be turned, but we see later on. We'll discuss that later in Rise of the Lycans stream.
Right.
he was one of the first to be bitten and, like, I guess, cultivated.
Yeah,
He wasn't brutalized and infected like all the others. He wasn't, like, killed and resurrected. He was just
wasn't bitten. He wasn't just bitten out of sheer luck. He was actually 600-year-old cougar. Soul Assassin, you love bringing it, don't you, man? But yeah. So the other Lycan running gets to a small reprieve and just rips out the bullet and tries cornering Celine. Doesn't work. She blasts his ass and then grabs the gun and ejects the mag and's like, well, damn, we got glow-in-the-dark bullets here. Then she hears Reyes coming. And this is one of the best scenes that they had in the trailer from the original trailer, where she just turns, whoosh, throws the ninja or the silver stars at him. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Vampire throwing stars. Okay. I am getting more into this as it goes. Now, I'm guessing because we all saw how fast Reyes can move, that those had to sting a bit, because honestly, after she ran and then you see him running right where she was, it's like, yeah, he must have recovered either really quick but he still must have stumbled. He would have been like, son of fuck, god damn, what the hell did you hit me with, bitch? But it was just great, man. See, and they don't show you the Lycan, whole body Lycan. They just show you pieces here and there and everywhere.
Right.
And at different angles. They don't show you the full thing yet, and it's great. And then she hears the commotion, and you see two Lycans basically in a bar fight, so to speak. And they're just like roaring at each other, slicing at each other every now and then a shotgun goes off. And I don't know. I wanted to think of a rock and roll reference, but it just died on me right just now. Lucian,
guys.
Yeah, it's Lucian. We don't know who he is, but we know that he's probably the leader. And I just love what he says. You're acting like a pack of rabid dogs. And
I mean, sorry, sir, but we kind of are.
Yeah. That, gentlemen, simply will not do. Not if you expect to beat the vampires on their own ground. Not if you expect to survive at all. And then he yells at the two Lycans that were fighting. Put some clothes on, will you? Now, Pierce, who's played by Rich Citrone, who is a stunt guy, he's looking at Lucian. He's like, "You're such an asshole." It's like you can sense the animosity that he feels for Lucian, but he still listens to Lucian, and it's like, wow. And I love how they actually brought in the stunt performers who were in the suits as Lycans. They gave them acting roles as well.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Rich Citrone, who plays the cop, who is also a Lycan. He's in the suit, or he's one of the people in the suits when there's a Lycan person in the suit. And the stunt work is freaking amazing in this movie. So after that, Reyes is back in the game. He's hunting down Celine, so she books. And now they're at the vampire mansion, and you just see her walking in with a gun. And most people, it'd be like, okay, I believe this. She's walking into her own home with a gun. Nobody's freaking out. Everybody's smoking, drinking, and whatnot. It's like, and I'm like, okay. She gets into the armory, and I'm like, I'm digging this. I'm at this point, I was hooked in the movie when I first saw it. She lays down the gun. We have a serious problem, and I'm like, it ain't me. but then you see the kind of hierarchy with Craven. God, that dude is such a sleaze. But he comes in.
His name is Craven. It's like,
Yeah.
Can we just comment on that? How on the nose were his parents like clairvoyant or something?
Yeah, because he's Craven Celine and he's also Craven Power, man. He's just a Craven maniac.
Yeah, how apt.
This dude, he tried doing an American accent, but his native Irish just kept on sneaking through. You expect me to believe that a mangy animal, I mean, specifically came up with a bullet to kill vampires, and you could hear the genuflections in his voice.
Right.
That's hopping between freaking American and Irish, and I'm like, dude, just drop the freaking accent and go straight to your native, man. It would work.
It's like
it would probably work better
in The Outpost. Great movie, but I couldn't help but notice that he was talking like Alex Mason in Call of Duty. I was like, oh, this. Ooh.
Yeah.
I hear those Britishisms coming out.
Yeah, and then you got friggin' Robbie G, I think is his name, who plays Khan, and talking about how it might be a high-tech tracer. It's like, could you guys not understand that maybe they actually did? I mean, well, yeah, I can understand. There hasn't been a den at that magnitude. They've hunted them to the brink of extinction. That's what the belief is, that the Lycans are fewer in number, but there's still the war going on. So how'd they come up with this kind of weaponry? It does make one wonder, you know? Now, we'll talk about how in the second movie, because we find out in the second movie, but I do like it. And she's like, Victor would believe me, when he's like, not for a random incursion. And they're even with their discussions, they're setting up the rules and world build of this universe. They open fire on us in full view of the public, meaning this is not something that is common.
Right.
So the world is basically generally unaware of this blood feud going on. And it's like, okay, so yeah. Then she's like, Victor would believe me. And I'm like, okay, who's Victor? And then there's that freaking pretty bitch, Samantha, I think her name is.
Oh, yeah, the blonde one.
Yeah, the blonde that's just totally taken with Craven. And he's just like, yeah, shut up. Of course you wouldn't. Just make sure
nudges her off.
It's like, yeah, just do what you fucking told. And go make sure she's ready for the arrival of her guest. It's like, her guest, what? Is it her birthday? But folks, if you've known me for a long, Erica is her name. Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you, Sam, in the chat. And it's like, I'd never dream of treating you like that. Of course you wouldn't. It's like, yeah, of course you wouldn't. You'd rather be on your knees right now, I'm willing to bet. But believe it or not, in the unrated edition, they actually do get it on and whatnot, but later on. So Celine is like because she's just got jaded by freaking Craven sending Soren out because, well, we learn later on that Craven's not exactly on the up and up. But so she's going down, looking at Craven or Victor's tomb, and you see the V, and then you look at, then I noticed something. Amelia and Marcus, VAM. Now all we need is 4 other elders with names that start with a PIRE.
Yeah.
It would just work, wouldn't it?
Really, just one more, you know.
Yeah. I mean, just get a P in there and you got Vamp.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So when you guys first saw Underworld, when you guys first saw this movie, what did you think when you saw the tomb, Victor's, or the tomb with the V? Did you think that Victor might be dead, or would you assume that he was asleep when you first saw the movie?
When I first saw the movie,
Go ahead.
I would have to say asleep because they're vampires. I mean, I would never believe that they would be dead in a tomb somewhere. I mean, it would just make sense that they were asleep.
Yeah.
Matt?
Right.
Hmm.
Unfortunately. Oh, sorry. You had an order to this. My bad.
It's all right.
It's okay. No, I'll be honest. My first thought was that he had been slain.
Mm-hmm.
It was a memorial
Hurts.
type thing.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, my first Underworld movie was actually Rise of the Lycans, so I knew he was alive. But had I not seen that movie, I probably would have still figured, oh well, he's sleeping because there's the other ones, and then there's because I believe they had mentioned Amelia beforehand, when Amelia comes, and he clearly stood for Amelia, so I figured, oh, they're probably just doing like this weird like ritualistic sleeping thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I looked at the back cover of the movie, and he was on it. So,
cheater. 24.
Yeah. When this movie, actually when this movie first came out, it was right around the time where you were actually getting, it was kind of like a revival. You were starting to get a little bit more werewolf, vampire movies at that time.
Yeah.
And it was good to see something that was out there, and it wasn't like your normal vampire werewolf movie. They've done movies where they've had vampires versus werewolves. I've seen those kind of movies. And then we've seen the individual werewolves where person turned into a werewolf. Vampire movies where either the person's already a vampire or you get to see how someone turns into one. After getting bitten and blah blah blah, and the person kind of comes into their own and starts becoming a vampire. And just to see how it was just a little bit of everything put together, along with like the mythos of what you think of a vampire or werewolf is, or how they it's like it wasn't your normal deal. Like it's especially like how when they were talking about awakening, Marcus, and awakening, other ones, you kind of could tell, okay, well, they go into like a hibernation kind of sleep, and they they rule for a little bit, then sleep for a little bit, rule for a little bit, sleep for a little bit. And then they were talking about how there's all this, what, 3 rulers, it's always one's awake, 2's asleep. And yeah, it's just it's just the lore behind it also. It's you could tell it wasn't something that was just thought up and just thrown on the screen. It was actually something that was actually it had a lot more thought into it than just somebody just making a movie. And obviously people liked it enough to where there's there's 5 movies and a cartoon.
Yes, I did. Or there was 3 little cartoon episodes that I
right.
have seen.
Right, animes, right, exactly. So,
and they're miniatures. They're like 5 minutes long each.
Right. Yeah. It's like 3 little short stories, but it's all in the world of Underworld. So it's I mean, shit. I mean, and if it's I was always waiting for a game, and we never got that. So I was wondering when that was coming. Because if something that runs that long, I mean, would have figured at least one game would have came out of it. We haven't gotten anything like that, so it would have been good to see be a werewolf vampire game where you could pick, you could pick a side, and it would have been good if they could have done some things with it.
Oh yeah, the potential.
I could see it being like the Alien vs. Predator games. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. I mean, it'd be different. It's You know, and actually, it's funny because like when you would see like
real
the
quick,
werewolf,
Sam McCabe,
right?
please do not get me started on the scientific elements of vampires.
We're actually going to touch on that in a second.
Yeah, it's like
actually,
it's now I'm saying that like when you see
What?
the werewolves turn, it reminded me of that old school game Altered Beast.
Mm-hmm.
You anybody ever played Altered Beast for Sega?
No.
Yeah,
For the,
long
yeah,
time
and
ago.
it's like, yeah, you remember when they would turn into a werewolf and you hear the oh, and it would just transform. It kind of remind me of something like that. Yeah, you should check it out.
No,
It's very
it
good
did
game.
feel very reminiscent of Werewolf in London, though,
Right,
and
Yeah.
Werewolf in Paris.
right,
Yes.
exactly.
American Werewolf in Paris was the very first American werewolf movie I seen out of the two. I never saw American Werewolf in London. I hear that is the by far more superior movie, even though it's the older movie. And I'm like,
Right.
I still like Paris, but I get why it's seen as campy and stupid.
Oh man, I tell you what, when you know if you get to see the original one, London, the London
Yeah.
one, oh you'd understand you would see the difference. You'd be like, oh shit, yeah, you ought to give it a whirl, especially since it's Halloween tomorrow. So yeah, man.
If it's on sale, if it's on sale anywhere on my digital selling areas, I'll definitely give it a look.
Oh yeah, man, you should check it out.
Oh no.
Now,
Sorry, guys. Sam, I don't mean that I have anything against the scientific stuff. Like, I really like it. In fact, it kind of inspired me for over the last, I think, 5 years or so. I've been working on how many different ways can we scientifically create vampires. Now I'm thinking, how can we do it with werewolves?
nature
that one's a
already
bit hard.
did it.
Oh, yeah,
Nature
but
basically already did it. I mean,
how can we get like like the sunlight, religion kind of stuff? Granted, Shiki really helped out, but like the fangs giving out anesthesia like mosquitoes, they would have to be susceptible to sunlight in the same way that like an albino would be. So really, it's just it would basically just be a human that eats like a mosquito and has albinism.
kind of.
Well,
Now-
there actually is a disease where you actually, if you
Yeah.
don't have blood, you will go insane.
Yeah, it's called porphyria, if I remember correctly. You need regular transfusions because your blood is not able to sustain hemoglobin.
Mhm.
And that is basically the whole key reason behind vampirism. It's because your own blood can't sustain the hemoglobin in it, so you need regular transfusions.
Mm.
Because your own blood's basically killing you. Now, the scientific element, the scientific element that he's talking about is that this movie or this series wasn't based on mysticism. It wasn't vampires that can turn into mist or wolves or bats. It was a virus that actually created these things through Corvinus and his sons, Marcus and William.
Right.
And we'll get into that further in the second movie because William and Marcus are touched on in that one. Now,
Right.
where were we in the movie? Right. Singe, who is the Lycan, who's basically looked for Corvinus's heir, so to speak, Michael, is basically in his lab looking at or taking some needles. This is in the theatrical, but in the unrated edition, he actually looks at 2 platelets to see if vampire blood or the latest results can actually work. They don't, so he's like, fuck it, let's take the next one. He just sticks the needle into dude's neck, jugular, pulls, and I'm like, doesn't even care. It's, all right, fine, I guess he's going to be food if he fails. So Lucian shows up. Any progress? Let's find out. Negative. I just love the dude that played Singe, man. It's like, he's just got that sciencey voice.
Exactly.
Negative. And I'm like, dude, you sound like you belong in 1945 Germany.
Yeah, that's what it reminds you of. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really does.
Honestly, he would have been a great actor to play Dr. Frankenstein.
That too, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that actor is
They should have
actually,
hired him for Hellsing Ultimate as well.
he's got some European chops on him. Now, then they go to, or in the director's cut, they also go to the hospital where Michael, or it's established that this kid from the subway, Michael, is a doctor. Also, the guy that's with him, you probably didn't notice this. The other doctor, Adam,
Right.
is that's Wentworth Miller, who, if you guys don't know, he plays Captain Cold in the DC Arrowverse.
Oh, that's
the
him.
same actor.
Oh, really?
Yep. And I'm like, why does he look so familiar? When I started watching the movie again earlier, when I first got the unrated edition, I'm like, he looks so freaking fit. That's Captain Cold. I mean, I was basically like freaking Leo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just pointing at the screen. It's like, that's him, man. That's him. Yeah. It was just freaking, I'm like, holy crap. And they say that, they're like, by the way, they said you did a real good job with the surgery. Now, a lot of people are like wondering, okay, it was a surgery, but then while he's walking in the theatrical edition, they actually transfer the shot when he walks by something out of shot. They transfer over to the sewer where the Lycans are. But in the unrated, they actually keep it in there where he's checking in on the woman who got shot in the subway. And it shows you he's a very caring individual. This guy he's a doctor. He cares. There's a story behind it. And then they finally do go where you get, this was probably Mad's favorite part of the entire movie. Kevin Greivik, butt naked, walking through, carrying his dead friend. We were ambushed. We were ambushed. Death dealers, 3 of them.
I can't say I didn't hate that scene.
Huh?
I didn't hate that scene,
Well, I'm pretty sure they showed I'm pretty sure they did show his tush. Not that I was paying attention. But you also see a dude or an actual lichen in full-blown thing walk by, but you only see the legs. And some people are like, that was digital, wasn't it? And I'm like, no, that was an actual guy walking in the lichen suit. I mean, yeah, you only see the legs, but it was an actual guy in the suit. But it also does kind of look digital in a way. So I'm wondering if they actually spruced it up. So they're going over, or Paul is like, look at this mess. Pulls out a bolt. AG rounds, high content, prevented him from making the change. More science setting it up. So if you get shot with a silver bullet, if you're a werewolf, it doesn't necessarily kill you with 1 bullet, but it will stop you from making a change into your lichen form. So then he's like, no use digging out the rest. Silver's penetrated his organs. Regeneration is impossible at this point. So meaning if you get the bullet out fast enough, you can live and regenerate.
Right.
So it's just more world building, and it's beautiful. How long have we been on here?
The whole science babble, it really does kind of ground it. It basically sets up that there is a set of rules here that you can understand simply by looking. We don't have to explain anything, but we're still going to take care to, explain just in case.
Exactly.
It's absolutely phenomenal. Like the Galactica reboot did this as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, then he's like, let's take these out of you. And you see Ray's just like tensing up. He's like, oh, relax. So he starts ripping out the vampires didn't realize you were after a human. Did they, Rays? No. I mean, yanks. I'm not sure. I don't think so. You don't think or you don't know? I'm not sure. And then they get the negative result. Freaking Lucian's like, I got to do everything myself. And then you see Ray's just rip that other one out, and it's like, damn, man, why don't you just rip those other 4 ones out? I'm pretty sure you would have given Mads a show. So yeah.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I actually
Mads, we all know that. We all love you.
Yeah.
I love
I mean,
that.
no,
scene
no
because
matter
Where
what,
your heart
that is
really
Scream's
lies.
trying to
it's like,
interrogate him.
Say that again.
Which
What
one
were
of
you
us?
saying, Mads?
Hey,
well, my opinion, yeah, no matter who it is. I mean, that's an impressive sight just seeing him rip that out anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is like a 7 foot tall, very muscular. Yeah, he is impressive to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why I was chuckling when the vampire was just hissing at him. I'm like, I'd be opening rounds at a regular vampire, not one that could step on me. Sorry, at a regular lycan, not one that could step on me.
Yeah. And the first time I ever saw Kevin Grievous, without actually knowing it was him, because I wasn't paying attention to actors at the time, was the movie Congo. He was in the movie Congo with the apes. He was one of the airport cop people that blew up, or he was one of the cop people with the freaking green beret cap thing, or the beret. He was detaining everybody because the president's limo in Africa just got blown up and whatnot. He was actually in that movie, and I'm like, wait, I recognize that's Kevin Grievous. Holy shit! But yeah, I'm gonna have to do a Congo discussion stream, man, just so I could say, stop eating my sesame cake. Just because. But back to the movie.
Why would you ever eat sesame cake? Blood is so much more delicious.
Very true. Very true. Now,
Iron in your diet.
Yeah. So, Celine is doing her own investigation and basically looking up finding out that Michael was being hunted, and Craven's just not fucking hearing it. Other than Thud, why would Lycan stalking him? It's like, Thud. There we go again, dude. Your freaking accent slipping through. Thud. I mean, just that was one of the major issues I had with the Underworld movie from an objective standpoint. The accent kept on slipping on Craven. It's like, just let him use his normal fucking accent, please. Oh my God, Len. Just let him fucking use his normal accent. So, she's now at his apartment, and Amelia's envoy, who we understand Amelia is this very important figure. We don't know that she's an elder. We just know that she's an important figure right now. And you get all these people freaking loading up on blood. And when Amelia comes in 2 days, or in just 2 days' time, to awaken Marcus, it's like, dude, you belong in a freaking World War II movie. It's like, man, wow, this. You know what? I'm not monetized. Fuck it. This dude sounds like a fucking Nazi. And you know what? That's okay. Because he's probably was once at one time. Maybe. Who knows? But then Erica comes in, and I tried reading her lips. It's like she disappeared or something like that. And then Craven's like, God damn it, bitch, why wouldn't you just be at my side? Take Erica, she's dying to be at your side. He doesn't hear that. It's like, really? I mean, this blonde is literally trying to get into your pants, pretty much has her hand on your cock the entire way through the freaking movie, and you're just so blind to it. It's like, dude, I mean, she literally just has to go over and later on in the movie just to get it going. So we're at the hotel, or we're at Michael's place, and she sees the picture of him and a woman who we're guessing is his girlfriend. So it's like, okay, plot thickens. Now we're getting somewhere. And the cops are looking for Michael, and the cops that are looking for Michael happens to be Pierce and Taylor, the two Lycans that were fighting in the sewer. And it's like, oh, geez, plot thickens really much. Holy damn. Lycans got the cops. And at this time, we are all still of the assumption that the Lycans are the bad guys. Because the beautiful way that this movie starts out is a narration from the vampires, basically making the Lycans out to be the bad guys. So the bad guys own the police. So, yikes. So then, Scott Speedman, a lot of, oh my gosh, when I first saw this movie, all the girls in high school were like, oh my God, he's just so freaking hot. It's like, well, then why don't you just fuck him? I mean, seriously. I literally said that in the middle of my frigging prom or senior prom. It's like, why don't you just fuck him then? My gosh, if you guys are so freaking adamant, just go at it. Go get him. And they're like, and they just look at me and they're like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, well, stop freaking dripping over him and just go at him, you know? But anyway, he gets there. He sees his door open. What does he do? Like any other stupid idiot. He goes in. And she just lifts him up. Why they after you? It's like, I don't think he knows who they are. But then you hear that Lycans are on the floor above and basically blasting or just stomping all over, and the CG in that sequence was horrible. I'm sorry. From an objective standpoint, it was horrible. And so he takes off. She's like, oh shit, he took off. And then they have Lycans crawling around on the walls. This was good stuff, man, because yes, it was bad CG insertion, but it was actual people in a suit running on walls. Cool. And then she just starts shooting. She shoots a hole in the floor, and I'm like, okay, that gun should have ran out of bullets by now. I'm just looking at it. It's like,
Yeah.
I know how that's like a 10-round mag each. And I'm sorry, where's the reload? But it's a freaking vampire movie. It's got vampire clips that are immortal.
Yeah.
The magazine is immortal.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't run
You
out.
don't want the infinite ammo cheat from.
So
Yeah,
we get to,
I admit that scene bugged me from more of
Also,
a construction standpoint.
All right. Yeah.
I
what?
don't think 9mm have that kind of power. And correct me if I'm wrong. Those are 9mm pistols.
yes, those are 9mm pistols, and they don't have that kind of penetrating power either to go through a floor that's like a foot thick. No.
Yeah, I've been to the range. I've seen what a 9 can do.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? Movie magic. We'll chalk it up that. What'd you say, Mads?
It was that scene more bugged me from a construction standpoint because you got the floor, the subfloor, standardly some 2x4s, then the whole kit and caboodle all over again with the ceiling that's below it. So
Yeah.
You need something pretty powerful to go through that. I'm willing to, bypass or suspend disbelief over the able to do the perfect circle because vampire heightened senses, all of that. But the bullets aren't supercharged as far as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the powers in the bullets. It's the gun might be the gun of her choice, but it's all about what the bullets are spitting out. What the bullets are doing. So, especially if they're not normal bullets to a gun. I mean, the bullets, they'll sit there and disintegrate somebody. I can see them. I can see how that shit can, eat out the floor when she's shooting all over the place, trying to, get a,
weaken the integrity of the floor.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, these are, just so you guys know, I have shot different rounds of ammo at a range. Silver hollow points do have a little bit more penetration power. They're basically meant for serious damage. So, and they do use silver bullets, so I'm guessing that's why. But anyway,
well, they can't be pure silver. The pure silver would just explode on the second the pin hits the ignition.
Yeah. So then Lucian's waiting for Michael up, and the way that he's just like opens his, hello, Michael. I'm like, oh my god, this is, man. If I was Scott Speedman, I would have pissed my pants on that scene, man, because it's like, who the fuck is this guy, and how does he know my name? And I just saw weirdness upstairs. So, what's going on? So then Kate Beckinsale just starts shooting who we all don't know to be Lucian yet. We just know him to be the vampire leader because they haven't said his name. Yeah, Lycan leader. Sorry, my mistake. Mea culpa. But he's getting shot, and he got shot in the head, in the neck, in the body, in the wrist. And this is specifically, I'm labeling this out, folks, because we're about to get to another moment. He then bites Michael and gets dragged away. Now the eyes, the lenses that they put in his eyes for Lycan eyes, for werewolf eyes, he was led into that scene like a blind man because you can't see through those lenses at all. I mean, I'm also a special features person. I love watching the special features.
Right.
And I also like listening to the audio commentaries and whatnot. And it's like, you can't see through those damn lenses. So now we get to the bullet burping scene, is what they called it, where Lucian just rips open his shirt, starts going, and the bullets it's like, who the fuck is this dude? I mean, seriously, what did you guys think of that scene when he starts freaking ejecting the bullets from his skin or from his body? We'll go with 24 this time. Start from.
Oh, no, well, I just when I saw the bullets coming out of his body, it lets you know that he was his power had just went up, and the fact that something that should have killed him, he was pushing it out without having to like dig his fingers into anything. It was amazing. I thought it was pretty awesome, and I was like, some shit's about to happen. Yeah, so
it's letting you know that this is not your ordinary Lycan.
There you go. Yeah, it's the tables are turned on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Bertz, what'd you think of that scene?
Well, my first thought was that I had seen it before, but that didn't make it any less cool. I forget what movie it was. I want to say Van Helsing.
Rise of the Lycans. He burps out or he forces the arrows out of his back.
Kinda, yeah. Like he like rips them out. But there was I think there was another movie that had done that. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Was it Matrix, Van Helsing? But either way, it really does kind of just go to show. This guy's not fucking around. Leave. You are in final boss territory. You are underleveled. Go grind. Leave.
Yeah. From a gamer's perspective, perfect way of saying it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Mads, what did you think of the bullet burping?
By that point, I had already suspected that he was probably the head of the clan from the way he was, chewing out the other guys.
Yeah.
Just all of pretty much, he was chewing out pretty much everybody. But seeing him do that, I'm like, holy crap, this guy is like a next level.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
G-Fan?
The biggest thing that I thought of was the fact that, kind of like what Mads said, I actually came to the conclusion that was Lucian, even before it's revealed. And the fact that, his power is, beyond that of regular Lycans makes sense because he's the one, in charge. So, I mean, I thought it was a very cool scene, very well done. But one of the things that I thought was interesting in that whole movie we never see Lucian as a full-blown Lycan at all in that movie.
Nope.
You know?
Nope.
Yeah, he's always like, well, with the exception of that scene, he's always in his human form. So yeah, I thought that was
Right.
interesting. It gives him like an air of sophistication kind of thing.
Well, I mean, the only time you see him change was when he during the flashback. Other than that, right. Other than that, yeah, he was just his normal self throughout the whole thing. The most you saw was maybe some teeth, some fangs come out, but other than that, he was just his normal self.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't transform outside of that flashback, does he?
No, he doesn't. I mean, even when he bit Michael, I mean, it was just
he was
he
just
bit the shit out of Michael, and he didn't even transform to do that.
Yeah, he was only partially transformed. So this basically says that this is a Lycan who doesn't need to transform all the way. This is one, or he's powerful. This is one of those more powerful ones. So, I mean, yeah, basically you understand that it could possibly be Lucian, and then you later on get, we got to go through a couple of things, because after he gets bitten, Speedman starts seeing all the flashbacks and whatnot, the chaotic memories, and the run to escape Lucian, when Lucian is like running at super speed, believe it or not, that's not CG. That is not CG at all. They had the car dragging a like tarp kind of thing that he would just run along to catch up. And I'm like, that is an excellent spot, or that is an excellent idea for that stuff to really display super speed, man. It just worked. It really did. So
that's incredible stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she just runs his ass over after he puts his sword through her shoulder. And I'm like, okay.
Assassin's Creed blade.
Yeah. Well, no, this was like Assassin's Creed on steroids, man. This was like an arm sword.
Yeah, it was specifically Assassin's Creed Valhalla and the one from the Odyssey DLC.
Yeah, well, this was way before those movies or those games anyway, but I understand what you're saying. Now, when he just throws the sword right back up into his sleeve and just watches them, it's like, okay, so this is a guy who's going to play the long game. And I just love Speedman, man. He's like, he sees she's bleeding, stop the car. She looks at him like, fuck off. And then he just gets right up into her ear, stop the car. It's like, dude, really? Back off. Points the gun at him and shit. Okay.
Calm down.
Okay, all right. But you lost a lot of blood. If you don't stop the car, we're going to get it, or you're going to get us killed. And, well, she's like, shut up, I'll be fine. Never mind, I'm not screwing around. Yeah. And then as soon as she says, I'll shut up, or just sit down and shut up, I'll be fine, what does she do? She passes out. It's like, really?
Oh, shit.
I mean, you could tell that she was starting to lose it because of the subtle blinking and whatnot before he tells her to stop the car the first time. So it's like, yes, she's not all there right now. But anyway, they get back to the mansion. Craven's pissed off because she brought a human back to the mansion, and because he's such a jealous little bitch. I mean, Craven. Now this is where when I first saw the movie, this is where honestly I was tipped off that maybe that guy is Lucian, because he keeps talking about Lucian as if he were alive. Lucian wouldn't be the least bit interested in a human, Michael or otherwise. It's like, dude, you're talking about him like he's still alive. Like, seriously, what's the deal with that? So then, he's like, wait a minute. You're infatuated with him, aren't you? Now that's a ridiculous theory. Is it? Is it? I mean, we do kind of know that she does her cervix is kind of exploding at this point for that boy. Let's be honest.
It's a Hollywood movie. We know where this is going.
Say what?
It's Hollywood. We know exactly where this is going, hon.
Yeah. So then So then Erica, being the snoop that she is, wants to basically probably make out with a human before he dies, you know? Who never knows? And then she sees the bite mark. She jumps up. She's screaming. She starts hissing, and it's like, more of the vampire hissing. Go away. You are annoying. I think that is why Craven doesn't like you. You hiss too much. But then he just smacks freaking Celine after Michael escapes. And what does she do, man? She goes down to the freaking armory and just starts letting off shots. And I'm like, yeah. And then Khan just comes in, says the perfect thought that I was thinking. I sure hope you don't get pissed off with me. And then he reveals the silver nitrate rounds, which is a brilliant, cool, awesome thing. You copied the Lycan rounds, silver. It's like, why did it take you guys that long to figure this out, to go this route? You know, I mean, this is the millennium. At the time, this was 2003, folks. So it's like, come on, should have thought about this. But anyway, I do like the bleeding effect that they did when she shot these statues, and you see the silver nitrate just oozing out. It's like, wow, Terminator 2 flashbacks here. What'd you guys think of the silver nitrate, or in the that scene where she talks with Khan, asking him about Lucian and Craven and whatnot? What'd you all think of that scene?
I think it was getting pretty obvious that. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I'm a gentleman. You go first.
I'm just going to give her complete props. Admit my surprise. Yeah. Now I'm just going to admit my surprise over the fact he hit a death dealer and she did nothing.
Yeah.
You know, guarantee she's got some sort of weapon on her. I would have cut the mofo, you know?
Oh, yeah. I would have beat the shit out of him, too. It's like, I ain't going to take this shit. Get the fuck off me, man. But it does tell you that she does obey the decor of the etiquette and whatnot, because apparently he is a higher station or whatever, and yada yada.
Yeah.
My immediate thought was, oh, this guy's going to get his ass kicked. That's just how these movies do. He's just going to get his ass kicked, and he's gonna do something stupid, and someone in charge is going to yell at him, or possibly worse. It turns out it was real worse. We'll get to that.
Yeah. And so what does she do after she goes shooting? Craven decides to take a little outing that we all know to meet up with Lucian, and that is the first time you actually hear his name to actually be confirmed that it is exactly who we are all thinking it is. Just keep your men at bay, Lucian, just for the time being. You know, don't force me to regret our arrangement. It's like, dude, there's that freaking Irish accent coming through again. We lost Mads. Mads, come back. Come back to me, Mads.
Listen. I just got out of Brennenburg Castle. I could go back, resurrect her. We'll be fine.
She'll be back in a minute. She's just probably having some internet trouble. Usually that's my shtick, but yeah. So we'll wait till she gets back. How's everybody in the chat doing? Did you smack that like button? Did everybody in the panel smack that like button? Did y'all share the stream out? What y'all doing? Matt's gonna cut some assassin. Smacking Celine was a dangerous move. You're damn right it was.
Right now I'm just kind of sitting, talking, trying to figure out if, when, why I should kill anything that I make.
There you go. Okay, she's back.
Yeah, sorry, boomer moment.
Okay, boomer. I am not ever going to do that again, folks. So you can clip that. Anyway, so
I got a clip right here if you catch my meeting.
Yeah. So here's the thing: fucking Lucian and Craven do their little meeting, and they leave Soren and Raze out in the rain. And Soren and Raze are looking at each other like, "You want to go, motherfucker? You want to go?" And that's Soren, and Raze is like, "Bring it, mother." I can't do his fucking voice to save my life, but he's probably saying, I could tear you a new one." And we'll see that actually later on. And so while they're having this little meeting, Celine's looking up the past. Digging into the past is forbidden, which we learn later on. But she learns the truth, and conveniently, Lucian's picture is torn, but there's the branded skin, and then she sees the pendant that he was wearing. And she's starting to put it all together. I think Lucian might be alive, but you also, in the unrated edition, you see the three crests of Amelia, Marcus, and Victor, and then you also see them branding the Lycans, or the branding section of why they're being branded and whatnot. Because they are basically property. They are slaves. They are the daylight guardians and whatnot.
Yep.
And I just love the skin that they had. She just rips that right out of the book. She's like, yeah, okay. And then she's figuring it all out. And then she does something really freaking drastic. But before we get to that, we got to jump back to a spot that I skipped, where they find, or where the Lycans figure out that Michael's blood, or Michael was the one they were looking for, and whatnot. And something's going on in the back. Okie dokie, G-Fan.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, work just texted me, and I got to work early in the morning, and I'm gonna have to get some sleep. We've been really short drivers as far as truck drivers go, so it's been kind of hectic.
All right, dude, take it easy, and thanks for stopping in, buddy.
Sorry, I wish I could stay. I really do.
Pleasure meeting you.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, nice meeting you too. Yeah, but yeah, take care, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
You too. Oh, and happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Oh yeah, happy Halloween to you too, man. Thank you, man.
And so we find out that Michael is indeed the descendant of Corvinus. And then, well, now now Celine is going to do something really drastic. She's going to wake up Victor. And she does the little message before, please forgive me, but I desperately need your guidance. And it's like, why are you talking to yourself? But then we realize that this is there's a reason. And she's like, from my knowledge, nobody's ever done this. Only the elders have the ability to organize their thoughts and whatnot, which does kind of have an inconsistency going forward into the other movies, but we'll tap into that later into the other movies for when they come along to show the inconsistencies. So she wakes them up. You see some of her own memories, children and whatnot, and you're wondering, okay, we're going to learn about this, hopefully. And you hear the message. Please forgive me, but I desperately need your guidance. I apologize, or I'm sorry for breaking the rules and waking you ahead of schedule, but we're in danger. I believe Lucian is alive, and Craven's basically in league with him. So, yeah. And then this is where some of the unrated edition truly shines, because it shows the prep, what she has to do to get him set up, to get him out of his fucking coffin after she's already started waking him up and whatnot. You see the tools, you see the blood, you see that you got to wire this dude up, and it is fucking creepy. So, while this is all going on, Michael's at the hospital talking to his buddy, Dr. Captain Cold, and saying that his head's split in half. And, well, we see that Dr. Captain Cold kind of sold his ass out to the cops. So Michael runs away, and he shows up at the damn mansion while Celine is busy getting yelled at by Craven again. Is it Michael? Is it Michael? It's like, oh, shut up, you jealous piece of shit. But anyway, she is so confident at this point because she knows that she's got Craven. She just knows it. And another little small bit of the unrated edition. If you go to him, you'll never be welcome in this house again. And in the theatrical moment, they don't cut to Erica, but they cut to Erica to show that she has a little smile on her face because she really fucking wants Craven. She wants to jump Craven's bones. Let's face it, folks. She wants to bite that thing, but not bite it off. We all know this to be true. And now that Victor's awake, we'll see what he has to say about that. And even Soren reacts to this. Is like, oh, did she just what? And so she leaves, and Victor's awake, but Erica comes in to talk to Craven. Look, I warned her. She never listens. I should have told you sooner. Her human's a Lycan. What? What's this ruckus? And the coolest actor. I know. The coolest fucking actor I've ever seen, man. After I saw this movie, I literally delved into Bill Nye's acting chops and whatnot, so I could try to find as much movies as I could of him. He's been all around. I mean, even later on, he's been all around. He's been in freaking Shaun of the Dead, Wrath of the Titans, more Underworld movies, and whatnot. It's just so freaking awesome. And
he was Davy Jones. We can't forget that.
Yep, he was Squidface. He was all scrungily and all.
And one of my personal favorites of his, he was in Castlevania Season 3.
Oh, yes, he was the time traveling dude.
Yeah, Saint Germain.
He was the alchemist, yeah.
Yeah, who, by the way, there was a historical Saint Germain who was around during the time of the French Revolution, and rumor from the time has it that he was like immortal or could time travel and loved magic tricks. So
yeah, I also believe Saint Germain was also in Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yep,
the French one. Now we all get a look at Victor, and I got to touch on this special features, folks. There are people were asking Bill Nye, so it was like, so there's a zip up the back, is there? He's like, no, there's no zip. The prosthetic makeup they have for his withered body and his face and his bald look, that's all plastered. He had to be naked so they could get plaster of all of his body. And that's literally sculpted onto him. So he wore it well, man. Damn. Do you know why I've been awakened, servant? No, my lord, but I'll soon find out. You mean when you find her? Yes, my lord. You must let her come to me. Well, we already know that she is beholden to Victor. And, well, Victor's no slouch, man. Bill Nye is a freaking awesome actor. This dude is method. And I just love how he just rips into Craven, because we just needed some desperate ripping into Craven at this point. This coven has grown weak, decadent. Perhaps I should have left someone else in charge of my affairs. And I just look, and then he's just getting all chaotic because of the memories. You're indeed a rest. I've rested enough. What you will do is summon Marcus. And that's when you find out that Celine really fucked up. He's been awakened a full century ahead of schedule. Amelia's coming to wake up Marcus. And here's where the whole VAM thing works. Victor was awake first, then Amelia, then Marcus. So it goes Victor Amelia Marcus, VAM. It's just a cute little thing, isn't it? So what did you all think? What did you all think of the awakening of Victor and his reaction to Craven?
Dude, Bill Nighy sells it so well that even if I hadn't seen Rise of the Lycans first, I would have instantly known, oh, this guy means business. He don't fuck around, and he is gonna mess stuff up if he sticks around for more than 5 minutes. This is gonna be awesome. And Bill Nighy sells every little bit of it. Every word that he speaks drips with some weird combination of Davy Jones eccentricism and like God levels of condescension. It's just, it's amazing.
Mads?
Cullen has become weak and decadent.
Yeah. Zombie Mads?
Not zombie, Siren.
Oh, Siren?
You know I wouldn't be a zombie. Come on.
Yeah, true.
Honestly, that whole picture thing, it was that. I just love that, man. Just his presence alone.
Yeah.
That you knew he was an elder, just because he has that royal commanding presence.
He does, doesn't he?
Oh, no matter what he was playing, I can't help it.
He carries away every role he has that I've seen him in. He carries that weight. I mean, even when he was Hephaestus, and I gotta touch on this, folks. I'm sorry. When he played Hephaestus in Wrath of the Titans, he has that wiliness, but he also carries it too. And I just love that one line where frickin' Percy's like, "We need your help to save Zeus," and he's like, "That's the plan." I was like, "Yeah, right then, right. So in that case, we'd best prepare for what? The end of the bloody world." I just love it. But yeah, him. Oh my gosh, damn. 24. Tell us what you think of Victor.
You can tell he's like no nonsense, no bullshit kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
He's he's very like, call it matter of factual. He just, it's funny because when you try to bullshit him, he cuts right through it and he's like, yeah, you can't fuck with him. He's pretty smart. He's smart. You can tell he's been through a lot of shit, and you can't sway him, with a smile and a bunch of empty lies. Because he doesn't play that shit. That's why, Celine had to show proof of what was going on, for herself. So yeah, you could tell he's a leader, and you could tell he's used to running shit and being in charge. I mean, you saw that as soon as he spoke, his voice commanded
respect.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
And obedience.
There you go. Right.
And it's like, you don't dare not listen to this guy. And I just love that. And so we get further in, and while this is all happening, Celine is explaining to Michael what's going on. And it's like, who are you people? So she checks, and she sees that he's been bitten. And she's like, her wounded reaction just says it all. It's like, God damn it, I really wanted into this guy's pants, but fuck, he got bit by a lycan.
I mean, you still could.
Yeah, I know. But it's
listen, as long as he isn't transforming, it's not furry.
Yeah. Well, it's
not
also
a GIF if he's in normal form.
Yeah, but they also do, or they do establish that kind of relationship is forbidden. Yes. Vampires and werewolves. The Covenant says that you're not allowed to. And so she takes him to the interrogation room. She finds out, or you find out that the vampires are actually very worldly. They have their hands in all sorts of things. So as the Lycan have the police, well, the vampires, they have businesses like blood banks and industrialized areas where they're getting cloned blood. So it's
Yeah,
like,
they have
okay,
money.
we don't have to feed on humans piecemeal.
Yeah, they have money.
Yeah, they're loaded, basically. I mean, did you see that mansion?
Now, can I just real quick, that really does kind of harken back to because Dracula really is just kind of like, peak vampire, and he is a count. So when you think vampire, you think aristocracy. So having that much money, having that much access to really simple but luxury resources like that, it just screams vampire.
Yeah.
It's like,
and also,
you cannot tell me vampires would not do that.
yeah, and also to touch on that, Dracula did own 5 properties around London and the Bram Stoker novel. So, yeah. Carfax and other places. I mean, the dude was rich. Now, she's letting him know that those hallucinations are not hallucinations, they're memories. You've been bitten. His memories have passed to you. So that's something that's weird, because if a Lycan bites you, you can see, or their memories go into you. But if a vampire bites you and drinks your blood, they can see all your memories and whatnot. It's like, interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. And then you find out. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wonder if they did that to intentionally harken back to how there was the sort of hierarchy of vampires over werewolves, or Lycans, sorry. And I also wonder if it actually works both ways. Like if Lucian could see Michael's memories, and if say
I do wonder about that too.
Yeah, because that was kind of my assumption, but now that we're talking about it, I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the hierarchy. Because wasn't I know this is another movie, but wasn't oh god, I forgot his name. How did I forget the vampire's name? Not William, that's the Lycan.
Marcus,
thank you. Marcus. Wasn't Marcus the older brother?
no, they were twins.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But anyway, Sam McCabe brings up a cool little thing, or a cool little snippet here. Sophia Miles, who plays Erica, couldn't look Bill Nye or Victor in the eye while he was in that makeup. She was properly creeped out, and he's absolutely right. That is she actually admits that in the special features. But yeah, so
it's because of my presence.
Yeah, or because of my sheer ugly grayness. But anyway, so you find out in these scenes a little bit about Celine's backstory and why or how the war started, what's going on. And then in the unrated edition, you find out a little bit of Michael's backstory. The girl in the photo was his girlfriend who died in a car accident. And that's why he became a doctor or a surgeon or whatever. And it's a very touching story. And it's also very gruesome, too, because the engine kind of went straight into her and kind of cut her in half. But she was still alive for a little bit. It's like, oh, damn.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I need to find this unrated edition. Sounds awesome.
If you have movies,
Oh
do you
yeah.
have movies anywhere? Do you have the movies anywhere?
I don't believe I do. I will be sure to look into that.
It's absolutely free. Getting an account is absolutely free. You just need to sign up. It costs absolutely nothing. The only thing that costs money is getting the movies, is buying the movies for your library, for your digital library. Now, the only problem is they can't, or they don't do Paramount or Lionsgate movies. So that's the only kind of limitation, but you can get them off, or they use Amazon Prime, YouTube, Microsoft, Vudu. You can purchase all these movies from all over these retailers and have them put into one library, which is pretty cool. And the Underworld and when you do get a Movies Anywhere app or the account, let me know because I'll send you a screen pass for that movie so you can watch it.
Say,
send screen passes to people.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on how serious you are about obtaining the movie. Now, another thing you can do is you can look up the collector's edition of Underworld, the first one.
Oh yeah,
I bought it when it first came out. It comes with an actual comic book, and
cool.
yes, it's 2 discs. It comes with a comic book, and I remember when I got it, I paid $29.99 plus tax, and it was the collector's edition. And you can find it on Blu-ray or whatever. But the thing is, when you find that's the thing between DVDs and Blu-rays. When you find it on Blu-ray, you can have it with the actual unrated version on there. But the thing is, you're not going to get the comic book, and so it's like as far as like the little the special stuff that comes with it. If you get it on Blu-ray, you don't get all the extras. You just get the unrated movie.
Yeah.
Now, you'd be surprised, after it being so old, how much somebody would be ready to sell it to you for little or nothing, and that way you can have it you can have it at home, and trust me, you'd be surprised once you look up what you're going to look up with what he told you, and then you look to see somebody just selling it on eBay or Amazon or something for little or nothing, and you're better off just shopping for it and trying to see if you can actually get that collector's edition with the comic book and everything else in it. Because if you're going to have it, you might as well have the best version. You can always get it on Blu-ray, but just to have it with the actual comic book, it's if you're a collector, you might as well just do it. And the fact that it's so old, you basically wouldn't even pay shit for it. You might as well go that route and just look it up. You'd be surprised how much people are selling, cool shit for it nowadays. Just because the state of where the world is at, you can find a lot of good shit on sale right now. You'd be surprised. Just throwing it out there.
Well, thank you.
Well, it's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, of course.
I just caught up.
It is.
Zero Fall, man. Zero Fall just scared the shit out of me with the breaking news of John Travolta hospitalized for suspected COVID-19. This is a small divergence, folks. But doctors now confirm that it was only Saturday night fever.
Oh, that's some fucking...
Yeah, I know, man. And they assure everyone that he is... And they are assuring everyone that he is staying alive. Shit. Apparently, he had chills that were multiplying. It's like, you son of a bitch, Zero Fall.
Oh my gosh.
You son of a bitch, man.
I know. You know what? I'm gonna have to use that shit. That's wild. I'm gonna have to. Oh, that was a good one,
live, though. Yeah, dude. I'm reacting to this right now live, man. You son of a bitch, comma. You actually got me there, period.
Oh my goodness. That's some good stuff.
That is. Oh my gosh, man. It's like, whoa, dude, this John Travolta. Oh, Jesus, you jackass. But back to the story. So, she realizes she has to get back to the mansion. And, after Victor basically bitch slaps Craven verbally, he gets out and Erica's there. He's like, wait a minute. Can you be trusted? Of course. Meet me in my quarters in 20 minutes. I think it's time to fill you up to speed. It's like, finally, we're getting somewhere with these two. And during the time that Michael and Celine are talking to each other, Erica, she goes in. He's like, what I'm about to tell you, I need assurance that this is the strictest Shut up. It can wait. She just takes her shirt off and they just start going. And I'm like, okay, well, all right. Finally, some decent skin here. We see nothing. I mean, I would love to see Sophia Miles Wahaz, but unfortunately, she also has a no nudity clause. But so Celine gets back, and Craven in the theatrical edition has somebody walk up to him. My lord, she's here, or she's back. Is there an upper world? Stunning and brave Megatron's son. Good to see you, buddy. And in the book, or in the unrated version, he's still getting it on with Sophia, and he gets called by his little underling. My lord, she's back. He just tosses Sophia aside. It's like, God damn, man. If that doesn't tell you that this dude is all wrong for you, what will? Well, we'll find out later. Now, freaking he grabs her. He's like, how could you do this to me? Embarrass me like this. The whole coven knows I have plans for us. There is no one. She freaking just tells him flat, there is no us. I mean, you'd think that he'd actually have gotten that hint. But no. And so she's like, you'll go before Victor. You'll tell him exactly what I tell you to. From here on out, you'll do as I say. Is that in any way unclear? It's like more of that freaking Irish just slipping through, dude. I am Irish. I love the Irish. But damn, your mixed, broken freaking accent is really hurting this movie's objective quality. So she just freaking just smacks him in the nose and runs off, gets in there with Victor. And he's like, all right, so he goes into the camera thing. Get out. Come on, get the fuck out. And so he's listening, and Victor coddles her a little bit. And she's like, I've been lost without you, constantly hounded by Craven and his never-ending infatuation. And he's like, it's the oldest story in the book. He wants the one thing he cannot have. That is pretty much the oldest story in the book, too. I mean, hell, I've had that happen to me a couple times. Very beautiful women out there. Not going to say who, but anyway, so, hey, people can dream, right? Anyway, he's like, now tell me, why do you think Lucian still lives? But I've already given you all the information you need. Incoherent thoughts and images, nothing more. Now, this tells you that while he is loving and caring toward her, he's also stern. He's a stickler for the rules because he set them all up and whatnot. And he starts ripping into her, which is precisely the reason that the awakening is performed by by an elder. You don't know, or you don't possess the skills. And she's like, but I did see Lucian. I saw him. You got to believe me. And the second she mentions Michael, he kind of has like a little Tourette's kind of fit. And I've noticed this about Bill Nye. He does have mannerisms that almost suggests like a very contained version of Tourette's, not an extreme version. Like he has the twitches and whatnot. I've noticed that in more than one of his roles.
So that's not just a Davy Jonesism that was like actually.
This is something that he does in all of his roles.
Not Victor.
Yeah, this is something that he does in all of his roles, and I'm thinking he either has like a weak form of Tourette's or something, but it can work for him, you know. When he did that,
he lent into it for Davy Jones, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. So when she mentions Michael and he has that kind of fit, I just kind of take it as he's looking into the memories that she showed him. Yes, the Lycan. And then she's like, let me get you the proof. I'll leave it to Craven to collect the proof if there isn't. And I'm like, okay, here's a big mistake. It's not because she's trusting Craven over her. It's like Craven is the one who is suspect right now. Why would you trust the person whose story is suspect over the person who has suspected him? But he says it. He's not the one tainted by an animal. And I love you like a daughter, but you leave me no choice. But also there is a slight discrepancy with the time. He's like, the chain has never been broken, not in 14 centuries. 14 centuries. The second movie starts in like 1202 AD. You're telling me that they've been around for 600 years prior to that? No, I'm sorry, I'm not really believing that for a second. So I'm guessing that was one of the lies that Victor was telling to kind of sell that he was the first, you know? So that is what I write that off of. And so he basically tells her, you'll not be shown an ounce of leniency. You've broken the chain and the covenant. When Amelia and the others arrive, you're going to be judged. And I'm like, loving father to homicidal father. Gotcha. What'd y'all think of that scene when she talked with him? And the scene with Erica trying to get some from Craven.
Well,
Which turned out to be a nothing burger. Huh?
But I haven't seen the Erica scene, but
Yeah, me neither.
I'm just gonna say, yeah, you may be complaining that you didn't get that there wasn't enough, skin at that point. I had already seen a lot by that point. I was very happy.
Well, of course you were with Ray's.
I mean, come on. You know me. I like my guys, tall, dark, deep voices. Love it.
Yeah, we know. You know what? When's your birthday?
January.
If I have enough money come January, I'm going to hire you as male stripper.
Oh, it's all right.
And I'll make sure he's the tall, dark variety.
No, it's all right. It's just me and my kid here, so yeah, don't need to do that.
I know, I'm joking. Although, like I said, if I had the money, I'd probably do it. But what did you think of the Victor scene with Celine then?
You actually pretty much put the nail on the head there. There was a lot of very fatherly interaction between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was not the entirely cuddly, loving father figure that we got the impression how she saw him. It was that stern type.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't believe it for a second, honestly. Like there was just
that he cared for her?
Yeah, I didn't believe it for a second. I think, like, as a kid, I thought he was too. He sounded a little too distant, but as an adult, I kind of realized that I think he was trying to use her to fill a void in his own heart. But he was using her as a tool, more or less.
He was using her as a surrogate because he killed his own daughter. That's basically what it is. She was a surrogate.
Yeah, I legitimately think that he was trying to use her as a tool to fix his own broken heart and have her go kill things when he's not around. I legitimately think that he had no other plans than that. I didn't believe his whole fatherly love bit for a second. He just, I don't know if it was the makeup or what, he just struck me as too villainous.
I'll rebut that in a second. 24/7. What do you think of that scene? Well, you did see the underrated or the unrated.
Well, it is underrated.
Well, it is sorely, yeah. What did you think of the Erica boob scenes and or Craven tossing him off and then Celine talking with Victor?
When I saw it, it's you really get to see who's I'm just laughing at the stunning Megatron. He's I like boobs.
Yeah, stunning great Megatron's son. Well, of course you like boobs, kid. You're kind of still milking on him, aren't you? Yeah, I went there, folks.
Yeah, nah. What I was saying was, you could tell that he was trying to give that fatherly love, but at the same time he's being strict as fuck, and he's just he's to the point. And like I say, he doesn't play around. He doesn't bullshit with his words. He doesn't be behind the bush. And just for him to be that way, considering that he's basically one of the kings of the vampires, that says a lot,
So, what did you think of the Erica scene where freaking Craven just tosses her off as soon as he hears that Celine's back?
Oh man.
No, that was for you because you were you also saw the unrated edition.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was that shit was kind of hot and heavy. It was some things happening, but it was crazy how it just came to a quick end.
Yeah, it's like, my lord, she's here. Get the fuck off me! I need to go yell at her. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then,
I mean, yeah, I was like, wow, I didn't, it's, I still, unless he's obsessed, I just didn't see the point in that, of him throwing her off like that. So
yeah.
Hey, Danny.
How you doing, Comic Chat? Good to see you, Danny. And he says hi to the other two guys. This is 24/7, and this is Bert's. Bert's you usually see on Twitter every now and then. Comic Chat is a great channel, guys. Or Soul, if you're still in the chat, give a Comic Chat channel a plug because, dude, he does some great stuff. Him, Chris Knight, and others, man, they do some great things every now and then on Chaos Central. I try to catch it as much as I can, but moving from summer into fall has been very hectic with my time schedule and whatnot. But I do catch it as often as I can.
Is that the name of the channel, Comic Chat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chat.
I do the Chaotic Countdown with them every Monday.
Yeah.
On Danny's channel.
Say it again, Mamacita.
I'm on the Chaotic Countdown with them every Monday night. That's
nice.
9 Eastern. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I saw. Yeah. Okay. Nah, I remember. Okay. Yep. I remember watching you on there with them. Yep.
Yep. And so now we're moving into, she gets locked in her bedroom like a disobedient child, and I just love her challenge to him. Tell me, did you have the nerve to cut the skin from his arm, or did Lucian do it for you? And she said that in front of other freaking vampires that are not technically on his side, except for Soren. Soren's the only one there that's really on his side, that knows of the coup and all that stuff. But because you see him look behind him, he's like, mark my words, soon you'll be seeing things my way. Then he locks the door, and he's like, nobody opens this door. Can't afford to have my future queen running off with that Lycan again. And you hear, or you see that Erica overhears this, and she's just had enough of this shit. She's seriously had enough of this shit. Take it easy, Comic Chat. Good. Thanks for dropping in.
Later.
And so, while she's stewing in her bedroom, Michael's having some some more memory flashes, and the Lycans are gearing up because the council is arriving on a train, and Khan was supposed to be sent, but Craven says Soren will take over this little assignment, And well, Singe, the Nazi werewolf sounding guy with the needles, he's sent on a mission himself by Lucian, because it's actually in the unrated edition. He's like, I need you to spy on our cousins for us. Now, he says cousins because cousin, he means the vampires. Which, honestly, I'm glad for the extended edition, because that actually clarifies something, which we'll tap into later. He's like, well, I'll dispatch Rays. I mean, no, this requires you. And he sends Singe, that's his name, to spy on the coven, to basically see if anything happens. Let us know. Follow the female, just in case she, gets out, goes back to him, whatnot. We need to find Michael, basically, is what the whole gig is. Now, the arrival of the council in Amelia, and Zeta Gorig, man, yeah, hot stuff. She comes out in the tightest freaking dress, and I'm like, if this is a vampire elder, slay me now, because I would love to be a vampire in that coven. I would love to be a vampire in that coven. But it's short-lived. We don't really get to see much of Amelia, because, well, the doggies start howling and showing up, and they start wreaking havoc and killing the entire council.
She got got.
She doesn't die yet.
Yet.
She gets got either way.
But it's like, goddamn, man. You'd think that Amelia, I mean, after seeing the second movie, she could have done something. I mean, give her a gun or whatever or something, But, they hadn't made the second movie yet, so, yeah.
Anyway, would have worked better than nothing.
Yeah. So Soren just watches the whole slaughter happen, and he's like, okay, my job's done here. Going home now. And then Erica decides to do something stupid. She shuts off the power. Ooh. And Victor's reconstituting at this time still. And when the alarm goes off, and this is when Victor, they don't show it in the theatrical, he starts taking all his needles out, tossing them aside, and unplugging himself, because he's already sucked all the blood out from those bags. And then she bursts through the door, throws Celine the guns. And she's like, why are you helping me? I'm not. I'm helping me. It's like, no, you're really not. If only you knew, you're really not. So she does the dumbest thing. They go to Craven. They're talking about the perimeter sensors being tripped. They're locking down the mansion. She's like, it's Celine. She's gone. To go to him, to Michael. It's like, really? How would you know? You're kind of tipping your hand there, aren't you? I want that Lycan's head on a plate. Then he walks away, and you see Erica just give that. It's like, really? I'm doing all this for you, you motherfucker. Notice me. I just absolutely love that scene. And so Celine runs off to Michael, and the werewolves follow. And what did you all think of that, where she busts her out and whatnot, so she could just get Craven to just notice her? And it still doesn't work.
Aside from reminding me of the Sal's Wolf's Head meal from back in my home world, I couldn't help but just how do you simp so hard for a man who is so clearly uninterested, and then you go through all of that? It's like, hey, let me help you, please. I'm desperate, Lord Craven. Let me sucky just once. And he's just move. Kill some werewolves.
It's that same question though. Is could be spun around in Craven's direction. He has been told time and time again by Celine, yeah, it ain't happening, bro.
It's just, it's like a human centipede of sin.
If you weren't technically in charge, I would have shot you ages ago.
Exactly.
I know, right?
If these people weren't vampires, they'd be mass shooters.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we went there, folks. Now, just so you know, I do gotta say this, just so you know, we at Orange Hat Reviews do not condone mass shootings.
Only
Well, you might not, but no, I'm kidding. We don't condone.
If it's an action movie, we do condone it, but because it's a movie. But in real life, we do not condone that shit.
What if it's a Christian movie, like the one that took advantage of Columbine? We condone it there.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
No.
Not on air. Let's not go there. Yeah. Let's stay on task.
Sorry.
Not on the air, right? Not on the
Sorry.
air.
That movie is another discussion in and of itself. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So she then so then
Sorry, but I am apologizing.
it's okay.
No, you good.
Moving on. So Lycans track Celine, and Khan is finds out that there's something shady going on. Amelia hasn't shown up, and he sends a couple of his detail off to go find out what's keeping her. And Sin shows up following Celine, and she shoots through the wall. And here's another objective thing that I did not like. When she pulls the gun to start shooting, they show her shooting over or across, and you see Scott Speedman's reaction to the gun going off. Sudden, he kind of flinches. And then they go to the werewolves getting shot, but then they go back to her and they repeat the thing because you see him flinch again in the same exact way. This is what's called repeat cut. It doesn't work very well unless it is a situation where you can flip the screen and have it done at a different angle. But when you have something very specific, like Scott Speedman's reaction to the guns going off, it doesn't work if you have if you're an objective reviewer. So this is one of the flaws that they had. They tend to use the same cuts seconds apart, and it really hurts in certain scenes. Now, she then shoots out the window. Jump. Are you fucking kidding me? I hear myself.
Oh, I was just turning on the stream. I've got a bit. I've got a bit that I'm going to pull at the end. Just don't worry about it.
Alrighty. But so he jumps out. He realizes, okay, I just survived a huge jump. And then the cops show up, and it's Pearson Taylor, Rich Citrone, and the other guy, and they kidnap him while she shoots the rest of the Lycans dead, except for one who's still alive. And and he just looks like he's laughing his ass off, but he's not really. He's in pain. And
I mean,
so
have you ever been shot? Like, I actually got stabbed in the hand once, and my reaction was to laugh because it's just. Well, I mean, granted, it was minutes
that's
after.
called shock and adrenaline.
Exactly, like the pure shock of having a sword in my hand, and later the realization that I was able to just kind of walk off having a sword in my hand. I was instilled with pride. The combination of shock and pride is just all right. This is cool.
I've laughed off serious injuries as well.
Yeah.
I've seriously done that too. People think I'm nuts, but it's actually because I was truly terrified. But yeah. So what did you guys think of that small scene where the shootout at the OK Corral, also known as the interrogation room?
If I remember correctly, she shot through the door, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about how many movies actually like do that.
Too many.
It's like, because like on the one hand, it's like I don't know. I can't think of a lot of movies that really like show. Yeah, guns don't just the bullets don't just stop when they hit something. They're gonna keep going through. But
Yeah.
I did like how it. I'm not sure that I remember how it was all set up. How the Lycans knew that they were there. I don't remember, but
Yeah. They followed her from the mansion when she was let out to escape from the mansion. They followed her.
Okay. Right. Yeah. That's what it was. So it just shows that Celine's a badass. You're not winning a fight against her unless you're really, really damn good. This is but the second, third time that she's taken out a dozen enemies or half a dozen enemies.
Pretty much.
And she very clearly knew what she was doing. Like she shot them, but kept one of them alive. Like, and this was through a door. It's like
Yeah.
They did something similar in JoJo's. There's this super vampire. His name was Cars. He put his hand on the wall, and he was able to figure out how tall everyone was in the room, and he used his abilities to decapitate all of them perfectly.
Cool.
She basically did that, but with guns, and kept one of them alive. Because, like, I want you to tell me some things.
Yeah. So we do get to that, and we're already at the 2-hour mark. Holy shit. Well, we are going to go over because we haven't finished the movie, but we are going to speed this up a little bit. So,
and we can evap it. It's fine.
Speedman actually, or so the cops get him. Yeah, Speedman sees the full moon. He starts to change in the car, so the cop they have to stick him with an enzyme to stop him from changing. And Victor summons Celine, but
I admit I laughed. Hold on, I admit I laughed when they turned the music up. I'm like, what's that gonna do?
I know, right? It's like, Jesus Christ, this dude is so fucking annoying as he's changing into a fucking werewolf in the back seat. So, you know what? Let's just fucking crank this music.
I like how he was straight up screaming, and they're like, oh, what an annoying bitch, and they turn up the radio, and then like 2 minutes later, one of them looks back, oh, he's screaming because he's transforming. Dude, pull over.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys, pay attention.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh shit, he ain't gonna make it. Pull over, motherfucker. So yeah, and then Craven gets summoned to Victor because Celine's not there, and he sent for him, and he's like, my lord, I sent for Celine, not you. She's defied your orders, fled the mansion. Your incompetence is becoming most taxing, and it's the way he delivered that line was just fucking great. Now, he's like, it's not my fault. She's obsessed. She thinks I'm at the root of this ridiculous conspiracy. And she just throws in the fucking werewolf, saying, she's like, here's my proof. Tell him everything you just fucking told me.
It's not a conspiracy theory if it's true.
Exactly. Now, in the unrated edition, this is an extended scene, and it is great because he's talking in the beginning. He talks about how their original plot was to combine the bloodlines, but in the unrated, he begins with the tale of Corvinus, and then he talks about having to want to create the bloodline or combine the bloodlines. It's I can't really go over it all. I mean, yes, it's in my head, but god damn it, it is just it shows that this is a marked improvement. The unrated edition in this specific scene is truly where it shines, because it's not the extra action, it's not the extra flashy shit. This one scene is a culmination of the unrated edition and how it is truly better than the original version, because it kind of cuts a little bit of or kind of adds and switches around the order of the conversation of how they are the tale of Corvinus, setting it up about who Alexander Corvinus is, how he became the first true immortal, and the sons of the Corvinus clan, one bitten by a bat, one by wolf, one to walk the lonely road of mortality as a human. It's a ridiculous legend, nothing more. Well, that's because Victor is trying to save face. He's already established that looking into the past is forbidden. He is the first and oldest and strongest of them. He doesn't want that revealed. So he then Singe is like, well, see, once Lucian has injected himself along with Michael's blood and whatnot, well, in the theatrical, or once he says once Lucian injects, that's where Victor interrupts. Lucian is dead, according to whom? And here is the final oversimp and cuck moment, where in the unrated edition, Craven hasn't made it out the door yet. He's actually seeks out Erica. I need you to do something for me. Then he gets into the car, and Erica brings him out a gun and then tries to get in with him, and they close the door before she could do it. And she's just done with his ass at that moment. It's like, fuck this asshole, as he drives off. And this is where she's basically, or Victor, sorry, I blanked out. Victor's like, I'm sorry, I doubted you. And you know what? Craven, he's going to pay with his life. This motherfucker's dead now. The Corvinus, what the Corvinus clan, man, learn to hear right. But then again, audio from Bertz's background is probably interfering a little bit. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry, is that my fan? My bad.
Yep. Now, so then
I think he was
like,
making a pun. Orange.
Corvinus.
I
missed it. I missed it. I completely missed it. Anyway, so what do you all think when they all have to prepare for battle, and that the council members have been assassinated and they bled Amelia dry, and Victor basically gives the ultimatum to Celine. Absolution will be yours the moment you kill Michael, the descendant of the Corvinus, or of Corvinus. It's like, god damn it, she wants to get into his pants. She doesn't want to kill him. Oy. So what'd you all think of that one?
Well, the setup was absolutely brilliant. Even without the extended scene, the world building was quite interesting. You know, just being like, hey, there's a lot more going on here than just wolves and bats shooting each other. You know,
Yeah.
it like the theatrical version kept it kind of vague and mysterious, but even with that, it's like, oh wow, there's actually a fleshed out background to this. This is amazing. And as for prepping for battle, I love it. I don't know what it is. I just love scenes of people mentally and physically preparing for battle. I don't know why. And in the case of Victor, it just kind of confirmed to me at that point. He's still the villain. he wants her to kill this. He wants her to kill Michael for just being a werewolf.
No, because because he actually can
yes,
become
but
a hybrid. It's the one thing he fears the most.
We know that, but even from the perspective of people who don't know that, it's a very bigoted point of view. And as for him wanting Michael dead because he'd be a hybrid, and with I forget the guy's name, but the mad scientist guy.
Oh, Singe.
Yeah, with saying half vampire, half Lycan, but more powerful than both.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, Victor he wants to consolidate and maintain power.
Yeah, he doesn't want any threat to his power, and we learn why, because he calls it an abomination.
We find out later in the movie that he will do literally anything to maintain his power. Holy shit, dude, calm down.
Yeah. So then Lucian explains the memory that Michael saw, because they go back to that where he's tied up and he's like, your war has nothing to do with me. My war. And then he sees the full memory in its full coherent form, where Lucian's getting whipped and Victor's looking on, as is a tied up vampire girl that we don't know who it is yet. And then we hear Sonia, and after it's done, he's like, they forced you to watch her die. Sonia, that's what started the war. I just saw it happen as if I was there. And he explains it. We were slaves once. And we were the daylight guardians of the vampires, and I was born in servitude. I harbored them no ill will. I actually cared for them. And I even took a vampire as my bride. It was forbidden, our union. Victor feared a blending of the species. Feared it so much that he killed his own daughter simply for the crime of loving me. This is his war, not mine, Victor's. And he has spent the last 600 years exterminating my species. And that's when Craven shows up being a little bitch. I thought we had a deal. Oh, patience, you little bitch. Shut up. By the way, let's discuss this in private. And then this is where it's like, the council's been destroyed. Soon you'll have it all. Well, how do you expect me to take over now that Victor's been awake? That's precisely why I need Michael. You dumbass. If Victor was so easy to dispatch, you'd have done it yourself centuries ago. And I just love it. This is when all the freaking shootouts go on. And when they drop the silver grenade in and they blow out the windows and freaking you hear a bell toll. You literally hear ding. It's Victor. Yes. And if you would have done your job, he'd still be in hibernation. And that's when freaking Craven just shoots Lucian with the silver nitrate. And it's like, I just love that. I guess it never occurred to you that you might actually have to bleed to pull off this little coup. It just shows you just how slimy freaking Craven really is, man. Yeah, so what do you all think of? So then we get into the major shootouts. What did you all think of the major shootouts in battle?
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, they were badass.
Oh yeah.
You got guys in leather suits using, like machine guns and assault rifles and stuff. And when they run out of ammo, fuck it. They rip off their shirts and they become werewolves, and they start well, I mean, we don't see a whole lot of this, but it does happen. You start ripping guys to shreds. And there's this one guy who's got these silver bladed whips, looking like some Bloodborne.
We were going to get into that.
That man,
we're separating that from the shootout.
And then there's Celine just being a badass. Oh, what's that? You hear this guitar riff? Oh, yeah, sorry. As awesome as this guitar riff is, it should sound more like something out of Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Like it's just awesome. And real quick to comment, Craven, again, living up to his name. I've got it right here up on Google. Contemptibly lacking in courage, cowardly.
Oh, that fits.
Yeah. I mean, granted, his name's spelled with a K, but
yeah,
that fits. We don't like weirdos who spell words that start with a C with a K. They're weird.
But before we do get into the Soren versus Ray's match with the whips and whatnot, or actually it does take place after. So yeah, Ray's goes at Soren because he sees Lucian dead, and he brings back Amelia's blood, and it's like, oh shit, Lucian's dead. So then he sees Soren, and he's like, oh, you motherfucker. And he just shoves him over into the, like, oh, fuck.
Move, bitch, get out the way.
Silver whips, man. Those whips were just fucking rad.
Yeah, like I said, the threaded cane in Bloodborne, basically. Badass. Yeah.
Then he's just whipping at Ray's as he's in his wolf form. And then he gets his whip caught under rebar area. And it's like, oh, fuck. Well, Ray's got you dead the rights then. So that's when, then Lucian starts waking up. And he's actually trying to bleed out he's actually bleeding out the silver nitrate. He's slowly recovering a little bit, but the silver nitrate is very toxic in his blood, so he can't change. So he's like, not yet. This is part of the the unrated version where he tries changing and whatnot, and where he's trying to bleed it out, but it's not working. And then Celine finds Michael, and in the trailer you see him kissing that scene, and in the unrated edition they actually do have that kiss. And then they're running through, still getting through more of the stuff, and then they run into Craven, and Craven sees her or sees him, doesn't know what to make of it. Then he sees Celine, and then he's like, oh, this is Michael. Okay, I'm gonna fucking blast this bastard. Shoots him with the silver nitrate. And he still wants this bitch. And it's like, come, that's enough. You're coming with me. And then he tells Celine the truth about how Victor was the one to kill their family, or her family, not the Lycans. What did you all think of that twist? About Victor being the evil one and whatnot.
I mean, like I said, having seen Rise of the Lycans beforehand, I was like, I guess that fits. But it was still kind of like, whoa, like, really, dude? You're willing to go that far? Because it still happened like after the movie had happened and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or after the Lycan Rising, or whatever you want to call it.
After the Rise of the Lycans, it was the winter that followed that Victor went after Celine's family and turned her.
Yeah, it was like, damn, you. I mean, I knew you were a piece of shit, but I didn't think you were that bad. You are going to murder an entire family so that you can steal a child because she looks like the one that you set on fire. Okay.
That's basically why he did it.
That's so okay. Man's got issues.
24. So we just got to the point where Craven drops the bomb on Celine, telling her that Victor is the one that killed her family and not the Lycans. What did you think of that scene?
Sweet.
Actually, well, actually, it kind of showed what Craven was about anyway. He was just a piece of shit. So it just kind of confirmed that even more. But then to find out Victor's involvement, as kind of like as you see in the Rise of the Lycans, it's for when you see how much he says, I love you, this and that, and you see what he did to our family behind all that love that he's talking about. It's you got people out there that are really like that, and that's that's a scary thing when she actually sees something like that manifesting. Whether it's in real life or it's on TV, it's always
it's very devious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a nasty thing. So, it also it shows you where his head is at, and for him to be the guy that commands that respect the way he does, you get to see on the flip side how far he'll go to do other things, and that kind of takes away from that respectability factor, that he commands when he walks into a room or when he speaks. You get to hear his voice. It kind of changes that to where you don't know if that'll be something that you can rally behind, or if that'll be something that'll get you killed at the end. You just don't know, how you end up dealing with something like that or someone like that.
Yeah. And Mads, what did you think of the truth bomb that Craven drops?
There for me, that because I watched this in the theater. Actually, it was like pretty much opening weekend too when we watched it. And yeah, that was that full out jaw hit the floor moment. Especially when he goes into that whole, couldn't bother. I couldn't bear it. But then you who reminded him so much of his sewing at the daughter that he sentenced to death. And I'm like, whoa, fuck.
Yeah. And then he tries, after he drops the truth on her, he's like, now come on, come with me. Your place is by my side. She still doesn't want anything to do with him. And that's when Lucian comes in, tries to stop him from killing him, and then puts his sword through his leg. And it's like, oh, damn, that's going to hurt. And then he's like, you may have killed me, cousin, but my will is done regardless. Because he also told Celine to bite him, or to bite Michael, who's slowly dying of silver nitrate, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then she bites him and gets the process going. And Victor comes in after Lucian is fully dead. And hold on 1 second, please.
All right.
Maybe gave him lead poisoning.
Yeah, and yeah, that didn't work so well. I was trying to freaking mute that, but it didn't work. Anyway, so Victor comes in, throws Michael through a wall, still's trying to be that nice and kindly father figure. Forgive me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you across the room, but I was just in the heat of the moment. And then she's like, it wasn't the Lycans, it was you. And that's where he drops all the pretense. As he gets up, that look of concern is now to contempt. And as 24/7 pointed out, he is absolutely right. When he's like, yes, I have taken from you, but I have given you so much more. Is it not a fair trade, the life I've granted you, the gift of immortality? It's like, I don't think she would have cared. I think she would have rather died. Because she asks him, how can you bear my trust knowing that you killed my family? And you then give me the life of your daughter? And he explains, I loved my daughter, but the abomination growing in her womb was a betrayal to me and the coven. I did what was necessary to protect us, as I'm forced to do yet again. And during this entire time, Michael is transforming into the hybrid, where he actually goes in looking a little bit more like a wolf, but then dials it back. Now, a funny thing, original look of the hybrid was going to be very fine fur all over him. But the only way that they could do that is by a process called flocking. And the way that they do that is they got to jam an electrode up your ass and put a bunch of fur on you and then turn on the juice. That's how they do it. So, well, they figured that couldn't work. So they went the way that they did with the hybrid. And Victor's looking for this hybrid, and the hybrid's behind him. And you get an idea of how strong and fast Michael is as the hybrid. When he shoves Victor out through the hole, he's already in the water waiting for Victor to land. It's like, okay, that's fast. Like, that's Dragon Ball Z fast. Holy shit, that's fast. And they just start ripping into each other, man. This was one of the best. What did you guys think of this fight between Michael the hybrid and Victor, the vampire badass?
Yes, as soon as he went into that, forced to do yet again, I'm like, this one is not a newborn.
Yeah.
You have not thought this through.
Yeah.
And the scene. What was that?
Go ahead.
I heard some big old clicking, and I was thinking, "Oh God, does somebody have a gun? Don't shoot me!" Anyway, seeing after all of like the gunplay and stuff, which was pretty fun, seeing these like a vampire and a vampire werewolf just start like clawing and slashing and slapping and beating the ever-loving crap out of each other, regular old fisticuffs. It was a very welcome change of pace, and yeah, it's exactly what you would expect, with these very primal sort of monsters. And in all honesty, it might be heretical to say this, but in all honesty, my favorite part of the fight is when Victor gets thrown out and he gets up and he's looking for him, and he turns around and he sees this he sees Michael, with his black eyes and his blue skin, and the look on his face was just, why are you blue? Why is he blue? And then he gets thrown across the room again. I laugh at that every time. It's just like, wait, what? Huh? Well, it's the look of confusion, obviously, because it's like, there's no possible way that you're that fast. But in my head canon, it's just, why is he blue?
That is good. But I do love it when he stands up and he's then right behind him again, and it's like, huh? And then he just starts swinging at him.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
24, what'd you think of the fight between Victor and Michael?
Well, it gets to, you get to at least see the level that they're both on. So it's like when you get to see that fight, everything that you have thought of Victor to be, you get to see it. If he's strong, if he's fast, what kind of skills does he have with the sword?
Yeah.
And all that. And then, with Michael, hybrid, first time anybody's seen anything like that. So you don't know what he's about. You get to see that he's actually probably faster than Victor in some ways, and then, but, Victor did catch it with an uppercut and some other shit,
Yeah.
They were slashing each other up. So there's, like I said, you get to see the strength and how furious, they both are as fighters. And, you could tell it was obviously, a fight to the death. So it's, yeah, but that's the thing. You get to see their strength being measured out, and that's actually when you watch a movie and you get all the way to the climatic battle scene at the end. Good versus evil, however which way this thing's gonna go. One side versus the other. Of course, you want to see the two opposing forces fight at their peak. And then, and that's basically what you saw here. And it was a good show of force, to get the, you get to measure, this hybrid that everybody's afraid of, it's called an abomination, and everybody's afraid to see it happen. Well, now you see it, you see what it looks like. It looks something completely different than the Lycan or the vampire, and then you get to see how strong it is and what it can do, and how it's faster than Vic. Once he fucking knocked Victor out off that second story hole, and Vic hit the water. As soon as he hit the water, the dude standing right behind him. I mean, dude, he was just in front of him and just knocked his ass out. By the time he hits the ground outside in the water, he's sitting there right behind him. It's like, you get to see, how deadly this combination is that everybody's been afraid of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all gets put out there.
And it was just great. I mean, basically the fight between Victor and Michael is a perfect fight of raw power versus experience and power. And because you see that Michael has the upper hand at first, but then Victor gets to get some of his licks in and starts beating the shit out of Michael. And he actually gets him in a death grip and is ready to kill him, if not for the fact that Celine is down there too. Celine steps in, takes out the 3 death dealers that stepped in during the reprieve or during the small pause in the battle, and then Victor just smacks her with a side fist. It's like, yeah, sit your ass down, bitch. I'm not done yet. And then they charge at each other and whatnot. So then she sees the sword and kills Victor in such a way that is completely unique. I have not seen this in any other movie. She beheads him, but not his full head. She cuts half of his face off, or half of his head off, but diagonally. And I just love that. He pulls out his knives. He's still alive. And then she shows him the blood on the sword, and it's like, yeah, you're dead, dude. You're just not catching up to the facts of it yet.
Oh my
So
word,
what'd you all think? We'll start with Mads on this. What'd you think of Victor's death? Was it gory enough, or was it?
Beautiful. It was beautifully gory, and from somebody who grew up actually, believe it or not, my dad was a butcher.
Ooh.
That moment where she slices and then holds up the blade afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when the head starts slipping off. I'm like, that is one razor sharp knife that it didn't even click into him. Oh my god.
I know. It's like he didn't even catch up to the fact that she actually just sliced through his head.
And like, funny enough, I'd actually had a similar instance with one of my own knives, which is why I just totally loved that whole thing, because I'd actually once cut off like the tip of my finger, and I didn't realize it at first myself until I saw the blood on the cutting board.
Oh,
because
damn.
I didn't feel it. That tells you how sharp a knife is if you don't feel it.
Yeah, true. I cut myself one time pretty badly. What did you think, 24/7, of the death of Victor?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the way Darth Maul got killed at the end of the Phantom Menace when he got chopped in half, and he's standing there, you don't know what's going on, and then see his body kind of buckle in half. The same shit, it's
just with his head.
Right, exactly. And I mean, and sometimes you see that in all different kind of movies. You see a gunfight movie, you hear pow, pow. You hear the gunshots, then the camera zooms in on the good guy's face, the camera zooms in on the bad guy's face. They both have the same expression. You don't know which one got shot. You don't know what the fuck's what. Same thing. Something happened, but you don't know exactly to what extent. And all of a sudden, the camera backs off a little bit. Looks at the good guy. He's fine. And the camera backs off the bad guy. Look at him. He got a little red on his shirt. You already know what happened.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's the build up to it. That that hey, she jumped, she did something happened. You're looking at Victor, he looks fine. He looks like he's ready to whoop some ass, and all of a sudden he just pauses. Boom, half of his face slides off, and it's like, oh shit. That's that's the that it built up to it. Even with that happening, it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And then, well, basically that is all she wrote. You see Michael get up, Celine is there, and you see Michael looking around, and Lycans are looking at him, and they're backing off. They're like, yeah, I do not want in on any of this shit. This is way too fucked up. They're backing off because they're scared of it. It's like, yeah, we're not gonna win this.
Hey, you killed Victor. We're good, man. As far as I know, we're good.
Yeah, it's like, he just killed an elder, and yikes. Or, well, he just fought an elder, rather, got his ass kicked, but something tells me these two are not to be fucked with. So we then return to the mansion with Celine's monologue about how differences will be set aside and allegiances will be made because 2 vampire elders were killed, and she killed one of them. And then Marcus is waking up, and you see his eyes go black because he's a vampire. He's also a descendant of Corvinus. This was set up that they can handle a hybrid gene. And then it's a freaking werewolf's blood that dipped into his thing, and you see his eyes go black, and they roll the credits, and I'm like, perfect fucking setup. This is a perfect fucking setup for a sequel. Anyway, we all can agree that was a perfect setup, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's like, I don't get chills, but if I did, I think I would have gotten chills seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Mads, what'd you think of Marcus's eyes going black at the end?
Honestly, I didn't even think, it was such a heat of the
man.
moment. I didn't think about it until they started going back to the room. And
In the second one?
at the end of the movie, and with all of that stuff, that how much Victor was against this,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't think twice about just leaving that Lycan there.
Yeah. He just punches half of his head off, or punches half of his face off.
And he actually, I love the irony that he created the very thing that he was afraid of.
Yep. He did.
Technically, on 3 occasions.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get into that next time, though. So anyway, folks, that is gonna lead up to the end of the Underworld stream. I hope you all enjoyed listening to us. Thank you all for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. Big shout out to 24/7, Bert's, G-Fan, and Matt. You guys are awesome. And thank you for joining me on this one. Stay tuned in 2 weeks for the Underworld Evolution. Bert's, if do you want to come in if the other panelists don't show up again?
Sure. If I don't have work, yeah.
All right, I'll keep you definitely in mind.
I'm hungry. I'm gonna go hunt some werewolves.
Okay. Now, stay tuned, folks, for 2 weeks. Oh, he jumped out before we said goodbye. But he was serious.
Yeah, yep.
So we're gonna come back in 2 weeks and discuss Underworld Evolution. Right. And oh boy, you guys are, as you all know, before each live stream, I always do a brief review. When I do my brief review for Underworld Evolution, you just keep in mind, I do like the movie, but what you are going to hear is a lot of criticism for it. So with that being said, folks, stay tuned for that 2 weeks from now. Next week is the next versus stream, which is going to be Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho versus Ryu from Street Fighter. And I got Giovanna from Giovanna Banana and Kamen Rider 64, he was the one who suggested that one. So if anybody wants in on that, let me know on Twitter. Just send me a DM if you want to be in on that panel. You don't have to know everything about each fighter. We go over the specifics during the stream. So if you want in, let me know, and I'll be happy to add you in. So with that, folks, that's all there is. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you all have a happy Halloween. Don't get too drunk on chocolate or candy, and don't catch COVID. So, yeah. Anyway, folks, that's all there is. If you like this video, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of Underworld? What was your favorite part? All that jazz. And this has been Orange Hat Reviews, and Mads, and 24/7, and Bert's, and G-Fan. And we'll catch you all on the next one. And until then, stay humble, folks.